Tori Amos is the latest of a long line of popular musicians like Joni Mitchell, Peter Gabriel, and Sting, who have turned their personal soul-searching into pop songs. And while she's only 28 years old, Tori Amos has already had a life that novelists would glory in. A child piano prodigy, Tori was thrown out of the Peabody Conservatory at the age of 11 for playing by ear and showing a preference for rock and roll. She spent her teens playing Gershwin and old standards with her dad in hotel bars before moving out to Los Angeles. In the late 80s, during her rock chick phase, she put out a record called Why Can't Tori Read, which drew more attention for the S&M look of the cover than for the music. The record's failure led to some serious introspection, and last year Tori Amos put out a brilliant new album called Little Earthquakes, which documents with uncompromising honesty her search for self-discovery and reclamation. The songs on Little Earthquakes range from childhood memories to sexual awakening to a wrenching song about being raped. With over 1 million albums sold, Tori Amos can claim to have made it on her own terms. She performs alone, accompanying herself on the piano. I'm pleased to have Tori Amos join me in the studio today. Welcome, Tori.
Hi, Ken.
Tori, your record, Little Earthquakes, listening to it, it's a brilliant record, one of my favorite records, but I find listening to it is sometimes like going through therapy, and I wonder if writing it was like therapy for you.
Purging.
Purging?
Yeah, I was on my knees most of the time writing it, because when you have to start looking at stuff you've hidden in the closet for your whole life, it gets to be, it's a bit of a shock. And it's like, I can't believe that I had this hatchet murder living inside of me.
Which we all do.
Absolutely, we all do.
So, but why this need to purge? You've been writing songs for years, you grew up in music. Why all of a sudden this need to get right in there? Because you get right in there with these songs.
Because I couldn't live anymore like I was living. I couldn't live anymore where I'd go to a party and I'd want to kill some babe. And I wouldn't know why. I'm like, why do I want to kill this person? At least I want to know why if I want to kill somebody. What evokes such anger, such incredible anger over tomatoes at the shopping center? You know, you're sitting there in line with your tomatoes and they're not right or they're bruised and you get treated, you're slighted by the checkout girl and all of a sudden you're in a rage. I mean, this would happen to me, and it happens to a lot of people. If they really think about it, they get mad over things that don't warrant that kind of response. So I wanted to know what's hiding.
Where's your heart? Were you always a searcher, or was this something you just reached a point in your life and bang, oh, you thought, who is this person?
Yeah. Yeah. I became what everybody wanted me to become. I was a minister's daughter, so I tried to please a lot of people.
And then you were with a record company that gave you an image?
No, I gave them that image. I mean, I take full responsibility. Any plastic snake pant on my body that hugged my thighs, I definitely chose it. That's where I was. I liked being a rock chick. There's nothing wrong with expressing yourself in whatever way in your outward appearance, but my God, Tori, have something going on in here and in here, and I had completely cut those off, just shut them down. I didn't want to be open to what I was really thinking, because then I'd have to make a decision. Then I'd have to make choices instead of, okay, maybe I'll just do this.
This is big stuff, Tori. I mean, people go into therapy to do this. Why did you turn to
I couldn't afford therapy.
So you turned to song?
Well, I've always been writing. I'd get in trouble because I'd bring home The Doors and Jim Morrison. I was only like 5, but I went to the conservatory, so I was exposed to all this music. And I'd say, Dad, this is what I want to do. And he'd say, get this out of the house. This is the devil. And I'd say, but he looks like Jesus. And it didn't go over really big. So I didn't have anybody to talk about. You know, Jim and Robert, because Robert Plant I really like too. So I would write them songs. And that's how I express myself.
So songwriting's your natural venue of expression, but when all this stuff started to come up so, you know, the songs are so powerful and so demanding on you, at any point did you say, no, this is too much, I'm shutting this tap off?
Well, I'd shut the tap off for about 5 years because I kept showing my songs to record people, if you will, I guess. And they kept saying, this girl and her piano thing is never going to happen, honey.
A million records later.
And so after 7 years of sending my tapes in, from the time I was about 13 to 19, I just got broken down. I just started to believe that maybe they're right. Who wants to hear about this anyway? We're the Whips. Let's go.
So, go on.
So I did what they said. I got a band. It was nobody in particular. It was just responses from everybody. Just be anybody but who you are was what they were telling me. And so I did. I just became everybody that I could possibly become.
This sounds like such a familiar story. So many people feel this way. What precipitated a crisis where you said, no, this is who I am, that's it?
I put out a record called Why Can't Tori Read in my full S&M regalia. And I kind of liked the outfit, but the music wasn't true. It wasn't real. If something is real, no matter what it is, it strikes a chord in you. I wasn't doing it for realness. I was doing it to please people. That's a whole different place. Intention, that is the bottom line for everything. So once it got slaughtered by the press, and I was a bimbo in Billboard, which was very difficult. I think it was one of the hardest things for me to go from child prodigy at 5 to bimbo, and I just completely put all my self-worth in that record, and I crashed. So I had to pick myself off the kitchen floor and say, forget about the music. Do I like this girl? And I started to say, well, I don't really know this girl.
And so we're born the songs on little earthquakes. Do you have to protect the person from the artist? Because the artist seems to demand absolute bottom line. It's almost like a descent into hell sometimes in some of these songs. So does you have to protect the person from the artist?
Yes.
How do you do that?
Make lots of spaghetti. I like to cook. I divide between cooking and writing songs, and when it gets too much, I'm chopping onions. Just because I have to get away from this. It's like, lighten up. And I try and bring flashlights and stuff when I'm looking at things I don't want to look at. Like when I'm a coward. And when I'm really violent. It's so easy to look at when I'm compassionate. It's just, yeah, I'm compassionate. But you have to give equal time. If you're going to look at the dark stuff, you also have to look at the stuff that makes you giggle. We all have all those parts to us. We were just never taught how to be a whole person. That's what it's about. It's being a whole person. The Savior isn't out there somewhere. The Savior is in here. And I'm a believer in other forces, God, Goddess. However, God isn't going to fix the fact that I'm really pissed off. I have to fix that. And I don't expect anybody to get off their cross and come save me. That is really irresponsible.
By putting this music out, it seems like suddenly this music people told you was too intense has reached people. You're like a snowball. The record came out to critical praise, and now you've sold something like 1 million records around the world. You have a folio book. You have 700 people standing in line to get your autograph at record stores who all want to talk to you. Are you surprised at this reaction? Are you surprised to have hit such a chord?
Yes and no. Yes, in the fact that I've been doing it so long that I was just used to people drinking and talking about where they were going to go shopping when I would sing and never listen to anything I was doing. I'd be playing Crucify in England just like a year and a half ago, and people would say, "Can you turn it down? We're trying to have a birthday party. Could you cheer us up?" And I'd be bummed out because I didn't think anybody would ever want to hear my music. So in that sense, yes, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised that people want to hear about claiming their power. Self-empowerment is when you can go in and find the monsters and the miracle workers too, and put party hats on them, and you invite them all to dinner and say, all these things that I see outside on the planet are in me in different degrees. So if I can clean up my own garbage, everybody talks about, cleaning everything else up. Well, there's that part too. But you don't have a clean planet and a really mixed up people. I mean, the earth is sick because we're sick. It goes hand in hand. If the earth were well, we wouldn't be sitting here being so cruel to each other. So unbelievably cruel.
This started with a purge. It started with a need to find out who you were. The record is made. People are buying it. Now people listen when you sing. What has writing this and being accepted done to that sense of to that person who's asking, who am I and do I like her?
She goes, well, what are you going to do next? And she challenges me sometimes. I have to always go back to the seed. I mean, I constantly have to clear my weeds out. Because, come on, I'm addicted to being loved. I love to be loved. If everybody would just hold hands and eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, it'd be like really swell. But there's another side of me that who's been smacked in the face. And I'm like, don't even think about it.
So the search goes on.
Find the balance of all these different sides. And what is the true voice inside? They all have a point to make, but I'm trying to not look to the outside for being enough. So it's the balance of all those things to try and find the true voice here.
Tori, thank you very much.
Thanks.
We'll be right back after this.